Welcome to AstroTwins Radio, your cosmic GPS for life, love, and everything written in the stars. We're Tali and Ophira Edut, the AstroTwins, here to decode the astrology of the moment and help you navigate your destiny like a pro. Hey everyone, it's the week of May 11th to 17th. Recording on the heels of Mother's Day, wishing everyone out there a happy Mother's Day if you're listening on Sunday. Tali here in Seattle, official dog mother of Astro Style.
And Ophi in New York, mothering a dog and a human. And,
All in a day's work, and happy Mother's Day to our own mom, Doris Edut, Rabbi Dorit Edut, and all the mother figures out there, whether you have fur babies, child babies, plant babies. I have a lot of those now. I got to tell you, Taurus season has been full on garden extravaganza for me, but I think I've got everything all planted. Last week I was telling everyone that I really wanted a palm tree. I haven't gone for it yet because between now then and now I managed to fill up a lot of space with various other plants. I think I need to stop now, but I have been obsessively studying the stacked, layered, always blooming gardens of Seattle for over a decade now, enviably looking at how it goes from cherry blossoms to daffodils to tulips to rhododendrons to bearded irises to lilacs to dahlias and
oh my
gladiolas. I
God.
know. I mean, it's like it's
Yeah,
kind of like very, it's
she's
almost
got a whole new vocabulary. She speaks plant now.
I do. Oh, I
Not the
don't
kind
believe
that everybody else in the world is
my
speaking, but
peonies are about to bloom that I put in a couple years ago. No,
this is what we've had to do to survive this administration. Not that one shouldn't be
I mean, if there's
planting
any
things.
silver lining, that's like, okay, let me focus on creating life and nature and green things because damn, maybe
But I
it's an
think it's true.
existential response,
I think it is because that's been my response has been learning things like human design and agentic coding and anything that feels like a creative act to give ourselves agency, because I think that we really are struggling to feel that and believe we have been given so many reminders that even our votes don't matter because they can just be redistricted or erased. Jobs and departments can be doged away. So I do think, and especially with the year of the fire horse, people are feeling that impulse to create or learn new things, which is very healthy.
It
Yeah.
is, and we called this the year of the unbridled spirit in our 2026 book. And that is the theme of this year, and it's feeling more and more the case.
Yeah.
It's like the real path forward is unclear, whatever that even means. We're in such a time of destruction and war and old strategies. So just, bring out the guns, bring out the bombs, and might is right. It's not working. The Strait of Hormuz still isn't open, people are still just dying in devastating numbers. And why? Why? Nothing is changing, nothing's coming of it. And this patriarchal approach, it's not just barbaric, it's worn the fuck out. And we're coming to the end of this 400 plus year cycle in human design
I have to
across
say
the planet.
too that
Yeah.
speaking of the unbridled spirit, I keep hearing a lot of people talking about the year of the fire horse and how wow, it's not turning out like I expected. I think that there was a large number of people that thought because it sounded so cool that it was going to be like a daddy, I want a pony moment.
It's just, or like some Pegasus and a ring of fire or something.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Like it was going to charge in and you were going to be given life and flames and horses and like
Or My Little
the astral
Pony.
yeah, or My Little Pony or unicorns. I think our pattern recognition system did not prepare people for what the year of the fire horse really is. These are intense AF years. And 1966, 1906, there was San Francisco earthquake and fire, the civil rights movement. There were so many intense things that happened. And not to say that they're not good, but it's a revolutionary time. So far, the year of the fire horse is on brand according to what it really
Well,
is
this
in
was a
astrology.
year, where, in Asia, they didn't want to have girl babies. There was a superstition that female fire horse girls would grow up. This was a long time ago, but that they would grow up and murder their husbands. And I'm telling you, like, the way the manosphere and patriarchy are going lately, I mean,
Every year is a fire horse
homicidal
year.
thoughts are at least a little cathartic right now. So, Fire Horse fired up, but what does it look like to set your spirit free? What does an unbridled spirit look like? It's like we're having to detach from these old ways, these 3D world structures that have been just running in the background and taken for granted all along. We've all gotten so conditioned, and maybe we need to be deconditioned. A lot of these things have led to the disparity in power, the conveniences of everything being delivered by Amazon, the ease of using apps and putting your data into your phone and finding all your friends and scrolling on Instagram. Well, while that's happening, a small few have become billionaires and trillionaires and also created the beginnings of a surveillance state. They have our data, there's no such thing as privacy for most people anymore. I mean, you're driving down the street, there's cameras on all the wires and at the traffic lights. You're being tracked and clocked by the phone in your pocket. And, it's we've all kind of the conveniences and the candy and the treats and that go along with these things have numbed us to the unethical problems operating behind the scenes. And I mean, that sounds very terrifying, and it is, in fact, but
Welcome to Uranus and Gemini.
that's
We
what I was
went from
about to
talking about
say.
went from talking about dahlias and peonies to surveillance cameras in less than 5 minutes. But
And that is the age of air
that's
that we're in now.
and also the kind of dual reality of Uranus and Gemini, which we're going into our second full week of this new reality shaping the next 8 years. Uranus, the planet that governs society, social change, and is now in Gemini, which rules small communities, neighborhoods, kind of our day-to-day goings on. It was in Taurus, which also does rule daily rhythms, but Gemini is more about interaction. And we're going to cover all the things that can happen with humans interacting from the hantavirus scare on down. Um,
As
so
well as
this
two
week,
great community interactions. Let's also bring it to the positive because there's a lot of positive energy. People have been noting. I've been hearing friends who've kind of been, behind the scenes and a little isolated, saying that they feel like they're coming out of their shells, and not just because it's spring. Uranus and Gemini is drawing us out of that kind of traditional Taurus guarded energy, the pastures we've been in, out onto the community playground of Gemini. And I think that that is where we're going to see a lot of progress happening, especially in the second half of the year. So, as you were saying,
I know
Ophi.
for myself, like what I've been feeling, and I've been hearing from a lot of people over the last couple of weeks, like all of a sudden I feel like my energy is like kind of exploding in all these different directions. And um I was always multitasking, but I feel like I have to go fully like all the way into the tunnel, into the rabbit hole of whatever I'm working on. It's a lot of juggling and spinning plates. I think that's the same, but I'm experiencing it differently with this airy Uranian energy. Uranus is the planet of genius and innovation. And I'm finding myself like really excited about what I'm learning or working on, but not able to do that sort of methodical Taurus timekeeping that I did. It's like it wants my full undivided attention, whatever I'm doing.
Well,
And
I
I'm also
think, yeah.
noticing, yeah, just I'm kind of having to um, really be more sharp about how much time I give to a conversation or a project, like a very clear start and stop time, because otherwise I'll feel the stress of the other thing I should be doing overlapping. So I'm noticing my relationship with time is shifting. Are you
Well,
noticing that at all?
Saturn in Aries definitely is doing that. You know, Saturn rules time. It was in Pisces from March of 2023 until just this February. So now Saturn, time-based Saturn, it's gone from this melting clock of Pisces into this more immediate, in the moment, got to get it done, Aries energy.
Yeah.
I also feel like
Uranus is really amplifying that for
yeah,
me and a
Uranus
lot
and
of people.
Gemini. Gemini is kind of is a very logical. It's ruled by Mercury. It tracks. And the word that kind of the word vibe, vibration is really a big part of Uranus and Gemini. You, Ophi, have learned how to vibe code, which is how does it work exactly? I really am, I've got to learn, but
It's, you know, and there was a Wired article about the perils of it. Of course, I mean it's AI agent coding. You describe the app or the function or whatever you want to make, and it builds it. And I happen to know a little bit of code and also have a couple of developers in my posse, so I can make sure that I'm protecting privacy and that sort of thing. But it does build websites, apps, workflows, all kinds of things from you directing and prompting it in writing or speech. So our friend Angelina taught me how to do that for the Your Next Win conference that we did. And you know, we should drop the link to that because there's a whole
replay, right?
replay, and you can learn about it and learn how to do
Yeah,
it.
there were, yeah, I
So
wasn't able
yeah,
to be on for that. I want to watch
yeah,
that. I
let's
mean,
great speakers and panels on there for supporting people, especially women and people from underrepresented communities, being just coming along with developing technology. Now, that was kind of a controversial Uranus and Gemini thing that happened too. Mel Robbins was clearly paid to represent or to sort of be an ambassador for some kind of agentic coding, but she suggested that people upload all their sensitive financial data into an agent and have it run their books for them, which is the worst advice ever. Reese Witherspoon got unfairly targeted because she just commented out of curiosity whether it was a good thing for women to learn to code, because otherwise they'd be left out of all the job market changes that are happening. And I happen to agree with her on that one. She did get attacked for it, and accused of shilling for AI companies, which she was not. She was just making a smart Aries comment. But I guess that's what's happening to Aries. Angelina and I discussed this because we're both very aware of the ethics. And what she reminded me of is that women get, I think, less than 2% of all venture capital. So, what
wow.
vibe coding helps people do is create prototypes of things that they could get funded, businesses, and keeps people in the economy who deserve to be in there, who are the most vulnerable to being left out, even more than we already are. So there are positives and negatives, of course, but I love the idea that you can quickly prototype something that could turn into a source of income and revenue.
I mean, like everything, it's like what you do with it, how you use it. In Utah right now, Kevin O'Leary, who's
Isn't
one
he
of
on
the
Shark
Shark Tank,
Tank?
yeah, he just got approval for a new AI data center in Utah that will generate and consume more than twice the amount of power the entire state uses.
Oh my
A
gosh.
9 gigawatt data center, and it's 60 miles, 60 square miles. So can you imagine like you're driving for an entire hour and there's the data center, still the data center, still the, I mean, like I'm just trying to, the scope of that, like,
That's wild. It's a question of resources and how we use them. Like, we've managed to create GLP-1s on demand, for example, because weight loss is profitable, but estrogen and progesterone have been in short supply. We can create these data centers at the speed of sound, but we can't use solar power, nuclear power, not, renewable resources to power them. Why not? So the real problem I have is that there's such a gold rush to keep up and not get overtaken by China and so on, that we're
which is such
just
propaganda
egregious.
too. That's
Yeah, all
Sam
propaganda.
Altman's, yeah, Ronan Farrow
Yeah, he did a
did a
great thing
whole
on that.
expose on OpenAI and just Sam Altman's talking point, and a lot of these, AI billionaires and founders are using, oh, we're gonna get left behind. We're gonna, and it's like
Yeah, it's just
the
it's just
dog
a
eat
fear
dog
tactic.
world is exactly like that competitive male dom. It's such a function of the patriarchy, and it is still the world that we're living in, but it's like the lack of imagination right now at this moment in time
Mhm.
is like all we can do is go to war, fight with each other, battle, say
Well, war as
China.
always just stimulates the economy, and we're literally winning the battle and losing the war by doing that. Now, if you want to support a woman writer, Empire of AI, Dreams and Nightmares in Sam Altman's Open AI by Karen Howe. That's a book that came out recently, and she's been doing an expose on them for years and following them.
Hmm.
So just want to give a woman writer a shout out to if you're
She was
interested in
on
that.
the Diary of a CEO, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
that
she
she was really
was.
good. Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
She
she
did not
was.
have much hope there. Well, the Colorado River is at a critical low right now. So water shortages are real. It's interesting. The North Node right now is in Pisces, and the lunar North Node, it's there until this July 26th, will show where we really need to focus. And this is the last big Pisces transit we're going to be having for a while. Neptune has left Pisces after 15 years there. Now Saturn has left after 3 years. And the North Node, which has been there since January of 2025, is leaving. So we're not going to have really any water or earth in like a significant way with the outer planets or those longer placements for a while.
We've got a
Later in the
super El
decade.
Nino coming.
Ooh,
Speaking of
yeah.
vibrations, what you're talking about, it's been some earthquakes and volcanoes. There've been, there's just a lot of vibrations. Things are being shaken up by Uranus and
And
Gemini.
and we can use those also to our benefit. A lot of people are using vibration plates and having some lymphatic drainage. I can say for myself, I love my vibration plate
Yeah,
and
we got pulled into that algorithm and I got one and I actually really I It could be a placebo effect or not, but I've been feeling really energetic since
No,
I've been
I don't
using it.
think, yeah, I don't think it is at all. And,
No, I don't think so either.
it's really helping with kind of water retention type issues and, just all the things, those lovely things that happen to a woman. But, I am a big fan, and we've both been big fans for a while of the Apollo Neuro wearable. And
Speaking of vibrations, yeah.
yeah, so let's take a word from them right now because they are our first ever podcast sponsor. And we've used the product for a good 2 years now, and it helps us focus, keeps us calm, helps me when I'm flying to stay calm. So let's take a word from our sponsor. I love saying that, and we'll be right back.
Our very first sponsor, the Apollo wearable, is one that's close to my heart, literally. It just so happens to be tucked into my bra right now. The Apollo is a wearable device that delivers silent, soothing sound wave vibrations to the body that signals safety to the brain through the sense of touch, similar to how your body responds to a hug or snuggling a pet. I met the founder of the Apollo a couple of years ago while I was speaking at the Milken Global Conference. He gave me his device to wear during my talk, and I was amazed by how in the zone I was. In fact, when I finished, Holly was like, "Wow, you were really focused." Well, I came to find out that he had set the device to focus mode, and I was intrigued. So I got one for myself, and I've been wearing it almost every day for 2 years. So, what really impressed me about the Apollo is that it's based on over 60 years of neuroscience research and has been validated in 17 clinical trials. It's the first wearable technology to improve sleep, heart rate variability, and energy just by wearing it. And I can attest to that. I change up the settings depending on whether I want to wind down or perk up or get into the zone. And it has this patented low frequency bass vibrations that actually modulate your vagus nerve activity. That's a big thing I've
Hmm.
heard people talking about. Again, I can attest to that. I often put it on the mindfulness or recover setting when I'm a little stressed out. If you're someone who has brain fog or ADHD, the Apollo actually can help you focus. My favorite setting is the focus mode. And I put it on before I write anything or help my daughter with her homework. It really gets me into a state of concentration. I can wear it on my wrist or my ankle or clip to my clothes. It pairs with your phone and then you can set it. You can also use Smart Vibes, which I've started using, and that takes sleep data from your Apollo. If you wear it for a week, to learn your body's patterns over time and automatically deliver the right support at the right time, day and night. So, as a special gift to our podcast listeners, Apollo is offering $99 off the purchase of any device. Just go to apolloneuro.com/astrotwins and use the code astrotwins for $99 off. Again, that's apolloneuro.com/astrotwins with code astrotwins for $99 off.
So let's look at the planets this week, Ophi. Wednesday, we have a Mercury Cazimi. Mercury, the messenger planet. It's going into Gemini on Sunday, the Sunday, May 17th until June 1st, a short 2 week interval. Usually it's in a sign for 3 weeks, but sometimes it goes faster in the summer. Stays a little like does a little quick buzz through. But before that, it's meeting up with the sun in Taurus. So a Kazimi, Kazimi is a cute little word. It's an Arabic word that means in the heart of the sun. So when a planet is, you know, lined up with the sun, it's glowing in its rays and it's kind of blessed by those solar beams. So this is a day where communication, direct kind of Taurus, no nonsense communication, is definitely getting a beam of positive energy.
On
I
Wednesday, May 14th. Yeah.
I
So funny.
don't
I'm attending a friend's Wealth Catalyst Summit, which is so Mercury, Cazimi, and Taurus. It's like a
hmm.
uh women's wealth building
Good day to
conference.
learn
And she asked
about
me to come.
money.
Yeah.
Good day to learn
Mm-hmm.
about, well, might be a good gardening day too. To anything, I'm like, whether you're learning about plants, learning about green, whether it's in your wallet or in your garden, definitely a good
Mm-hmm.
day for that. And very matter of fact conversations. Taurus knows how to get to the basics, take that intensity and emotion of its opposite sign of Scorpio out of it, and just be like, what's our plan here? What are we doing? It's probably a
It's
good,
very on brand because, yeah, our friend Shama, who's giving it, was telling me about the whole inspiration. And there's this whole big talk about what they call the great wealth transfer, where a bunch of Gen Xers are about to inherit unprecedented wealth. And there's hope that women will do something different with it, but it may be false hope because the truth of the matter is just because women inherit money doesn't mean they're empowered around it, number one. And they may just give it to a fund manager to keep investing or spare it for the family and not do anything ethical. So she was talking about that, and also just saying there's also a larger than ever number of women who have earned their own money. They don't have inheritances, but they have earned more than women ever historically have and want to know what to do with it. So I'll report back from that, but I do feel like I'm going into the heart of the sun, which is that life force energy, to get some Mercury information on a very
it's a
Taurus
really,
theme of money.
it's
Yeah.
really interesting. I was
Earned
thinking
money.
about that a lot because, the wisdom now is, if you want to earn wealth through retirement, you get an index fund, which is like a mutual fund, but it's not managed, so no one's taking interest from it. And you just keep putting in, and it compounds and grows. And which is true. That has been the most reliable way to steadily earn income. But what I've been thinking about a lot is that that also relies on a structure that began with Reagan, really heated up with Reagan, which was the idea that companies should, the whole trickle down economics. You give these wealthy people these tax breaks and they'll hire more people and all the money will trickle down. But that's not what happened. What happened was
Right.
that they began to pay people less and be beholden to their shareholders. So yes, you might have a stock like Nvidia that makes a lot of money for you or Apple, but
Or
what?
Tesla is always
Right.
in all of these high performing
Right, but
funds.
what's
It's like, great, we're
happening?
supporting Elon Musk becoming a
And
trillionaire.
it's not just that, it's also what's happening within the structures of those companies like Amazon, which is that they pay people very little, then they have bigger profits and the stock value goes up. They distribute those
Mhm.
profits to their shareholders. So the people who have stock benefit, but the people who work for the company suffer or are limited in their share unless the company is ethical and gives stocks like they used to the workers. The workers often don't benefit. And I heard that.
And with Amazon, it's, peeing in bottles outside. And I mean, the protests of the Met Gala were really, I love that Zoran Mamdani and his team had sort of an alternative to the Met Gala honoring the laborers and workers in the fashion
Oh yeah, I
industry that
saw that,
night.
the fashion
Yeah.
show that they had, right?
Yeah, yeah, which was frankly way more creative and interesting than that bizarre dystopian Hunger Games Met Gala. But we'll get to that.
Well, and the there's this whole, the Lauren and Jeff Bezos contributed $10 million to sponsorship, but they didn't contribute cash. They actually contributed Amazon stock. So for their
Oh my God.
fashion is art Met Gala, which again is like water is wet. Like what a stupid
Right.
theme. Like just shows the lack of artistry. And as an art school graduate, I feel fine just saying
Their
that.
tackiness. But beyond, it's just
Paint cadmium red all over that one. Yeah.
yeah, can't say enough bad things about that night and just the ick that it's splashed all over the world right now. It's
Remember
like
how
we
ex
literally are living in two different realities.
Remember how expensive art school supplies were? I remember like being so excited when we, got our got into the University of Michigan Art School and we got, different scholarships and worked in the cafeteria and then it was like these are the paint colors you need and like one tube of cadmium red, I think it was, or was it cadmium yellow? We
I
had to
think it was
get
red,
It
yeah.
was red
Yeah.
and it was
Or
like
maybe all of them. I don't remember.
yeah,
Yeah.
they were just like we had to get the primary colors and they were so expensive. I was like, well, I'm not eating for a week outside of the
Right. Guess I'm not
cafeteria,
going to
not even for
major
the
in
semester.
painting.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah, I
like
stuck to life drawing where all I needed were a couple of pencils. And then I found the computers, which were free. And here we are.
I know no one wanted to
Served
touch
us well,
those.
but
No one wanted to use the computers. We were, except for a few of us, were in the lab learning Photoshop. It wasn't even 1.0 because no one knew there would be a 2.0. So,
what's so interesting is, we've talked about the Leo and Aquarius nodes coloring different periods in history, the Leo North Node and the Aquarius North Node. So when we first started college and in 1990 and got access to those computers, there was an Aquarius North Node. So it was a time
mm.
of technology kind of coming to the fore. So we're coming back to that time, but unfortunately, it's not quite what it was back
Well,
then. However,
I
but
do
but
think,
there was a
yeah.
disruption. Yeah, everybody was anti-computer and wringing their hands over the death of art. And
But there was
yeah,
also the underground hip hop movement really took hold. I mean, you know, X-Clan, A Tribe Called Quest, KRS-One, De La
Public
Soul, Public
Enemy.
Enemy. Like, there was a movement that felt very Leo South Node, Aquarius North Node, and that's a transit
A
that's
lot of those
coming
people
up.
were Leos too. Chuck D from Public
And is it
Enemy and
KRS-One in Aquarius?
KRS-One. Yeah, I thought it was a Leo
I
actually.
did. Oh, really? Okay. I gotta
I
look that
think
up.
so. I think so. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's an Aquarius.
Mm.
Oh, no, he's a Leo. You're right. August
Yeah.
20th. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know?
Mm-hmm.
He's just so Aquarian in his, yeah. And it's funny how many millennial and Gen Z friends have no idea. I feel like they're going to be like rediscovering 90s hip hop. Activism in art, I think is going to have a even bigger resurgence this summer, and I'm
With Jupiter
excited
and
for
Leo.
that.
Yeah.
Jupiter and Leo
Mm-hmm.
with the South Node in Leo, like, and the North Node in Aquarius. So that starts July 26th of this year and goes all the way till March 26th, 2028. And the lunar nodes, for those who are listening who don't know, are these 2 points in the sky, basically connected to where the eclipses are happening and they reveal our collective destiny. The South Node is where we're needing to release some karmic lessons, move away from things, and the North Node is what we're growing into and embracing. We've had the nodes still in Virgo and Pisces for the last, since January 11th, 2025. And that's a health and healing industry and just all the Maha stuff going on out there. I saw this week that RFK Jr. is coming for antidepressants now.
Mm.
So
That all feels very Pisces North Node too, as well as some conversations around age, which one last little bit of shade to the Met Gala. Sadly, our beloved Bad Bunny attended, and he attended dressed up as an old man with a cane, and his hair was made white. He had obviously had a lot of costume redone. And I saw something where it said he was made to be 53 years old. Now,
Bitch.
hang on, honey bunny. I'm 53 and there is no cane in my hand. There is no white hair happening here. I was like, more like 83. I was just like, what planet? Once again, I was like, what planet are we living in?
You know,
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know. It was just so out of touch and weird. So we've got a lot of work to do here.
we
Yeah.
do. I mean, but it is scary. The Hanta virus is very much a Virgo to Pisces nodal thing.
Oh, yeah.
A breakout of, and that's
And
totally
also Pluto
scary.
retrograde in Aquarius, Uranus and Gemini, something communicable, spread. Gemini is touch, respiratory.
And
Uranus is a
Pisces, a cruise
shock.
ship. Pisces, a
Oh, yeah.
cruise ship. What do you think about
Yeah.
that? It happened
Yeah.
at
And then
sea.
Pluto being sort of things that are hidden and dormant below the surface.
Wasn't it started by a couple of passengers who went wandering off and like came into contact with these rat droppings in a cave or something like
Oh my
that? That's what
God,
I
is that
heard.
what
Yeah.
happened? That's very
Yeah.
Pluto, a cave. So, an Aquarius and Gemini, those air signs are all community led, community spread. So, I mean, we're being told that there's nothing to worry about. But, after going through COVID, I don't think anyone really trusts those words. But I am hoping and praying that, well, so this brings us to something that is coming up. This happens only it's an interesting sequence of years, every 100 to 50 to 100 roughly years, the Uranus-Pluto Trine. And that's starting now that Uranus is in Gemini, but we have two exact dates. So a trine is usually favorable, but it's a cooperation between two planets, a fast moving partnership. Whether they partner up for good or bad depends on, who knows. But Uranus and Pluto are going to be trine exactly on July 18th. And during that trine, Pluto will be retrograde. And then again, November 29th, while Pluto's direct and Uranus is retrograde. So I would like to believe that we've seen the last of this, but the passengers just got dropped in Spain and flown home.
And there was
And
just a French passenger who has begun to show symptoms today, who was on a repatriation flight.
oh God.
So and there were people who left the ship before they even knew there was a outbreak and went on commercial flights. So
And what's even
unfortunately,
more alarming,
Jupiter's
yeah.
in Cancer, so Jupiter's expanding things that have started on the water. And we do have that South Node in Virgo, which is, a health epidemic with this Pisces North Node, at
And
sea.
what
So
wonderful timing for Trump to have removed the United States from the World Health Organization. So we'll be the last ones to get to participate in collecting and tracking any of the data. So it's just stupid on stupid. So we really just, I think we have to learn from the past as best as we can and not go into a panic, but also really not necessarily just take at face value that everything's fine either. Pluto and
yeah.
Uranus working together in
Hopefully
air
the
signs.
people who were on that ship will step forward and quarantine themselves and
Yeah.
I don't think it spreads as easily as COVID, but I'm still deeply concerned about it. I don't think that
They tried to tell us COVID was from rats. It was in the year of the rat, interestingly, that came out. But
Yeah, I mean the
um,
North Node being in Pisces and Jupiter in Cancer can and just the South Node in Virgo are the things that are concerning me. There are astrologers out there who are saying, well, Neptune's not in Pisces anymore. Neptune dissolves boundaries, and Pisces does rule hospitals and disease. So there's not as much of that. And I'm choosing to lean into that, but I just
mhm.
think there's a big lesson in here with the North Node and Pisces about even just like just there's so much happening on the water from the Strait of Hormuz to now this. It's just like it's not, you know, it's
I think what we
not
are going to see
final conclusion yet.
differently, yeah, I think what we are going to see done differently with these outer planets and air signs is the way that communities respond if there does start to be an outbreak. We're not going to just wait and watch people fall from it. I do think you're going to see people mobilize, move into smaller. I mean, one of the things that can happen, the word district, which has come up with the redistricting with the Voting Rights Acts. Districting is a Uranus and Gemini and a Pluto and Aquarius kind of thing. So, I think we are going to see people moving to work together, hopefully, to protect their communities, imagining
Meanwhile,
what a
though,
response could be if we see
we do have
see.
some new alliances happening, and I also think that, that's the thing with Uranus and Gemini. It's like for every breakdown and fracture, I think we're going to actually see an unexpected alliance emerge. Canada, Mark Carney, has decided he made a speech saying, you know what? The United States is changing. They have the right to change, but it's of the tariffs have affected industry here, and we need to come up with some other agreements. So they are now celebrating Europe Day.
Oh
Uh,
wow.
yeah, which is, now it's Europe Day in Canada is now May 9th, and they celebrated
Wow.
it for the first time. So and he was saying, we can't count on the United States to stand for the values that, we used to align around, and we're not going to create solutions in any way by going down to their level. So we have to come from a positive place. I mean, what sign is he actually? I think
I
he's,
looked it up once. Let
oh
me
yeah,
see.
he is a Pisces. So there he
He's a
is,
Pisces. Oh yeah.
March
Okay.
16th.
Wow.
So North
North
Node.
Node.
Yeah. So yeah, I
North Node
mean,
action.
we are,
I can't blame them. And if it wasn't so cold there, I'd consider moving there myself. But um, it's good that someone is putting up a boundary. It's like he's the adult and the parent. Speaking of Mother's Day, putting the boundary up with the spoiled, misbehaving child that the United States is acting like, and just saying, okay, you just, you want to act like that, you go deal with that. We'll be over here being mature adults. I mean,
yeah,
speaking of the tariffs, like apparently people are getting angry because they were promised a tariff rebate for
yeah,
supporting that. They haven't gotten that. They haven't gotten their Trump gold phones or whatever. But what we have gotten is a Trump golden calf statue, as I'm calling it. And you may have heard me in a prior podcast say this a few times that, you know, our mom being a rabbi, we had to, read the Bible stories or hear them growing up. And the Trump era is giving golden calf, where the Israelites were wandering through the desert, out of Egypt during the Exodus, and they got sick of journeying and believing and keeping the faith. So they melted down all their gold and made a golden calf
I think they
statue
did
and
that when
worshiped it
Moses went up
to
to,
get the Ten
yeah, the
Commandments.
tabernacles. They were like, well, we're gonna, yeah.
Well, F that. We're going to just melt our gold and worship a statue. So the story goes. And, whether you believe it literally or read it as a parable, that's the Bible story. And at Trump's Miami golf course, a golden 22-foot statue of him, gold leafed, has been erected, and it was prayed over by his Virgo pastor and faith leader, one of his spiritual leaders, basically one of the evangelicals that he's got on his con squad. Mark Burns, born September 21st, 1979, interestingly, a Virgo with a Virgo North Node. So he is in his
Hmm.
North Node opposition, which is a time when he should be doing some soul reckoning, but he's doing the opposite of that. And with the South Node in Virgo, dipping below the karmic fault line and, hanging out with the cloven hooved one, perhaps. But so he worshiped at the statue of Trump. And I was reading these horrible stories, like all these
Oh,
brainwashed people who came. And were like, and this one woman who left she was wearing the ring, her wedding ring or engagement ring. Her husband had passed away, and she left it on the base of the statue because she thought that leaving it with the statue of Trump would, bring that's what her husband would have wanted. Yeah, all these people left
wow.
valuables.
And
And
someone came and scooped those
that's what
right up.
well, they did actually, like everything after those people left were like cleaned up by the golf club. I don't know, groundskeepers and put somewhere or maybe even thrown away. So all these people
How handy
left
gold
their
is worth
valuables. Yeah.
4,727 dollars per ounce right
Wow.
now. And
Wow. Well, great.
and by the
Somebody's
way,
surely selling that.
Trump Mobile has collected an estimated $59 million in pre-order deposits. $59 million,
Wow.
$100 each since June 2025 for this phone that people are never going to get. So the grift
Wow.
on grift on grift. And yes, we will keep talking about
And no
this.
one seems to care.
That's
No one seems
the
to care. Yeah.
biggest, the crazy, the gaslighting
I think there was
era.
some crypto related to the statue too, right?
I
So
don't know. Probably. I mean, when
I think there
isn't
was,
there?
yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
the
there always is. There's
Taurus,
another day, another coin for the Trump
we're
boys.
starting supermoon season this Saturday, May 16th, and with a Taurus new supermoon, then we have a few of them in a row. So a supermoon does not mean a moon is bigger, by the way. But it is when a moon is closest to the Earth. So the moon's orbit around the Earth is an egg-shaped. It's elliptical. It's not round. So there, I just actually saw Neil deGrasse Tyson live, even though he's a bit of an astrology hater. I just really love hearing him talk about science. What can I say? And he was talking about the super moon, and I was like, I knew that. But
The
so gave him a
apogee and perigee when
yeah.
the moon is closest to the earth and farthest. So the super moon is when it's at its closest point, and it's a micro
And
moon when it's far.
when it's
Yeah,
a
and full.
full or new moon, because he made the
Yeah, there can
point that
still
there
be
could
a
be
new moon
there could
and a
be a
super.
super moon that isn't a new moon or a full moon. It just means it's at that point. But
Right,
just so
right.
had the shortest distance of the Earth. So we do have a
When it
super
does
moon.
end up being a new moon, because someone, once said, "Oh, well, how can it be a super moon if it's a new moon? Because we can't see it." And it's purely mathematical and astronomical. It's
And
not related.
astrologers say we can feel it. So you may feel the desire to do something new in the Taurus realm of life with greater intensity, whether that's grounding yourself, highly recommended, putting a new routine or practice in place that keeps you sane and balanced through all of this. Maybe a new approach to money. Whatever you learn at this women's finance conference, you'll have to come
I'll
back and
bring it back.
share because we always love to share information. The same day, though, there is a conjunction of Mars and Chiron and Aries. So this new supermoon is going to be interesting on the world stage. So Mars, the planet of war, and Chiron, the wounded healer, are coming together in Aries, the sign of combat, but the sign of, like,
I think we're going to see some anger from the military and the families of military members who've been deployed for this senseless war to the Middle East, for starters. I also saw something about Putin indicating that the war with Ukraine might be coming to an end. So I wonder if that could be a Mars Chiron thing. I don't know, but
right.
we
But what
may,
does he
I'm putting
exactly
it out
mean by
there.
that? Well, Sunday, we're going
Right.
to see,
Who
here's some
knows with him?
dialogue. Sunday, Mercury comes home to Gemini, Sunday, May 17th until June 1st. And there's a couple things we didn't talk about too with Uranus and Gemini. So Gemini rules local action, local activity. And we spoke about this last week. It's big in the news. The redistricting, the Supreme Court's terrible decision to turn the clock back on civil rights and overturn, the second section of the Voting Rights Act and now allow basically gerrymandering to take place with some fancy language. Oh, you can change districts as long as it's not based on race. So, of course, this is, being contested and creating all kinds of problems in Louisiana and Tennessee already. They've done some, they've, of course, turned the states red, stripping away representation for Black citizens because now they're grouped in with areas where they would most likely have now a conservative representative who doesn't, honor or fight for their needs. Now, the today the Virginia Supreme Court struck down the Democrats' attempt at a redistricting map. So the Democrats are trying to fight fire with fire. Fine, we'll redraw Virginia blue, but the Supreme Court in this case is not allowing it. So vote, people, vote, people, vote. Tell your people, and their people to vote. I'm happy to say that there is one young Gen Z representative who's really stepping forward right now in the news, and that's Justin J. Pearson. He is a January 7th Capricorn. He's in Tennessee. He's born in 1995. So he is only 31 years old. There's another 31-year-old Justin in Tennessee, Justin Jones. And they there's comparisons being drawn, like photos comparing Justin J. Pearson because he really got into it with some of the Tennessee cops. I think one of them called him boy, and he's a black man,
Oh,
utterly
God.
racist, Confederate language.
Jesus.
Um, yeah, so people are drawing some comparisons to his, moment there with some of the things that happened to another Capricorn, Martin Luther King, who's probably rolling in his grave right now. All of his work, they are so tied to Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. So this is a tough podcast this week, but there's the Gemini energy of organizing within communities, organizing locally. I think, Mercury and Uranus together, they're a good pair, they rule the mind, the higher mind, the mental state, communication, messaging, getting it out there to the masses. So, I mean, does all this have to happen? for people to organize. And I guess we haven't gotten the lesson yet. I don't know.
Well, interestingly, this Thursday and Friday, right before the new moon, right at the Mars Chiron conjunction, um, and when Mercury goes into Gemini, Trump and Xi Jinping, who are both Geminis, both born on the same day, June 14th, weirdly, are meeting in Beijing for the first of four meetings expected this year to talk about commerce. So who knows what that's going to produce, if anything, but it's kind of interesting timing as well. So
Maybe some
um,
more gold phones made in,
yeah, maybe that's where he'll get them cranked out. But
hopefully not the takeover of Taiwan, which is a
yeah, well,
threat.
that is expected to come up as well. So, of course. So,
But
um,
Uranus and Gemini will bring meetups and on a personal level, some meet cutes or even some interesting couples. Like I think the Met Gala really we're getting sick. People are so just turned off by the ostentatious wealth and the just celebrities dressed up like the Hunger Games and the ridiculous outfits. Like it just doesn't hit that $100,000 a plate ticket and prancing down a red carpet when civil rights are being stripped away. Like I know it's a prestigious invite and your stylist has been prepping you for the longest, but it's left a receipt for all these celebrities. But I will say
I think a
that,
lot of those celebrities and musicians also have long-standing relationships with the designers and maybe wanted to support the
of course,
designers who are
yeah.
their friends. But I have a strong feeling that if they're looking back at the response that they got and the backlash because of the two hosts, Lauren Sanchez Bezos and Jeff Bezos, it just was not the same. It's like there there's going to be some better ways to
Well,
support
the
your
whole
designer
thing was
friends.
so just, like Sarah Paulson, who's a Sag. She, wore like a dollar bill mask over her eyes as if like, we're to make a statement on wealth. Yet, it just doesn't work. It's like when AOC tried to wear the tax the rich dress a few years ago. It's like you're going to a one percenter affair and you
Mm-hmm.
are, like even a year ago when the year of the snake, it was still okay. But this year with the fire horse energy, it leaves a stain on your reputation and people like
Yeah, there's no
Zoran
halfway.
Mamdani, I think Meryl Streep refused to go, which is hilarious because she was Miranda
And
Priestley.
is on the cover of Vogue with Anna Wintour this month. So
Right. I mean, but it says so much. Like Zendaya didn't go. And, celebrities have not been speaking up. But one celebrity who has is Sagittarius Billie Eilish. She doesn't hold back. And I guess she did make a debut with her Sagittarius boyfriend, Nat Wolff. And then
little hard launch. Yeah, cute.
another engagement of a Sag, Zoe Kravitz, and Aquarius Harry Styles. So, go
That makes
on,
sense that
Sages.
Uranus is now in Gemini, which is the marriage and partnership house for Sag. So hopefully their relationships will remain unconventional because if any sign could lead the way into the relationships 2.0 era that we wrote about in our 2026 horoscope book, it's Sag.
Yeah,
I
Billie
I don't know
Eilish.
how I feel about this Harry Styles Zoe Kravitz thing. It just can't happen so
I think
suddenly to
it's
me. I don't
cute.
know. It's
I like,
cute. I think it's cute too, but
I mean, I don't know. It's like, I don't know, they're both
the fate, yeah,
quirky and gender bending and interesting and not afraid to be who they are. So, and I think
for sure.
Billie Eilish being gender fluid and, she's, I guess, bi. So, it's just, I'm I just like to see couples happening in a way that the people are fully self-expressed. Like Harry Styles was wearing women's clothing
That's
on
true.
stage, and Billie Eilish was a lesbian, and now they're just doing whatever they want to do. And I think like that is the relationship vibe. It's not the trad wife. It's not the, you know, faux, just Kim Kardashian, Lauren Bezos, wifey energy that is
Yeah.
just such a
The
turn off.
statuette. Yeah. I think maybe the only thing that surprised me about Zoe Kravitz and Harry Styles is like that they're so unconventional that that them doing something as traditional as getting
Yeah.
married is still sort of, I don't know, there's just something about it that feels weird, like not on my I don't know, just feels a little like,
Don't
but
forget their super
why?
couple sign is Capricorn, and when they blend
Oh
together,
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
That's what it is. Yeah. Yep, when they're
so they might be
composite
there. It
sun
feels
and
boring,
Capricorn.
is kind of why, it feels
Yeah,
very
that's
like,
true. It's like Justin and Haley Bieber become a Capricorn. So always got to remember that composite chart. Well, let's finish off with our human design
oh
featured
yeah,
gate of the week. We've been doing that now. So, human design is what we call the double crust pizza of astrology. It's 12 signs, and the I Ching's 64 hexagrams or gates. And as they line up in a specific 5 degree or so 5 day window that can color the week. So May 9th through 14th, most of the week is the sun is going to be going through gate 23, which is called the gate of assimilation or the gate of knowing. And it's an energy of sort of understanding and knowing complex, abstract things, being able to explain them or process them in simple or surprising ways, which I found happening. Like all of a sudden, all these things that have been bottlenecked in my mind are just making sense from like video editing to something else I was learning. So, but it can also be sort of like this feeling of knowing that you can't explain it, but you just know. And what we do have to be careful about though is like just because you feel like you know doesn't mean that others will believe you, or you can't just trust me. It's a week you might
right.
find yourself saying that or hearing that. And I think even with like the hanta virus, it's okay, like I think that there's hope. I mean, again, I'm very hopeful that it does not turn into anything more. We have had other outbreaks, but during the gate of assimilation, the sun's journey through there, I think we want to be careful about coming across as glib or dismissive of people's very real fears or responses to things. It's
Agreed.
such a fine line. There's a saying that worrying is like praying for what you don't want, or negatively focusing on something can manifest it, which I don't believe. I think it does pattern matching, but for so long people have been blamed. Oh, your negative thoughts caused that thing to happen. There's the cause
I
and
hate
effect
that.
isn't that direct.
Linear, yeah.
Yeah, but if you do focus on something, then you notice things. Your energy may move toward that. So
True.
monitor your thoughts, watch your biases, watch where your subconscious thoughts and fears and anxieties are going. Get yourself an Apollo Neuro. It helps me. I've got it. I literally have it buzzing away, in my
Mm-hmm.
shirt now, and get that $99 off with the code AstroTwins too. Because yeah, I mean, we literally contacted them because it's made such a difference with the anxiety I've felt over the last couple years trying to
Oh yeah.
process all the news on the planet. So
Got mine
yeah,
right
so
here.
yeah, so I have mine clipped to my jeans right now so it doesn't buzz into the microphone, but it is giving me the soothing touch. So yeah, so couple announcements before we go. We have some new openings for readings in the calendar for late spring, early summer. astrostyle.com/readings. Get your chart read. Plan for the second half of the year. It's going to look different than the first. This year is split pretty neatly in two, with Jupiter and the North Node moving, now Uranus and Gemini. So the plans you had for the first half of the year may not be even valid anymore for the second half. So if you're wanting to map out the rest of 2026, get on the calendar, book yourself a reading, and we would love to guide you. We also have our free monthly manifestation meetup, our third one on
So
May
excited.
19th for Gemini season, aka Mercury season. We've been busy manifesting even more of what we started in April. So yeah, can't wait to meet up. We had vibrant, awesome sessions, just under an hour, and can't wait to hear if you're coming back what you've manifested over the past month too. Yeah.
Absolutely. And well, I know you've got a Mother's Day dinner to go to now, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go pick up Lux the dachshund and
And
have a
whether you're a mother or whether
mother-son
you're a
moment. Well,
brother, you're staying alive. So, what makes you feel alive? For Tali, gardening. For me, it's learning new skills, whatever it is for you. Just spend some time doing that whenever you can, just to keep your system balanced. We need you. We need you whole and strong for these changing times. So, thanks for
happy,
being with
yeah.
us.
Thanks for
Happy
being with them.
Mother's Day.
Happy
New
super
moon.
moon, new super moon, and we'll be back again next week.
Thanks for tuning in to Astro Twins Radio. If today's episode gave you an aha moment, we'd be over the moon if you left us a 5-star review. It helps fellow astrology lovers find us. And make sure to hit subscribe and follow us on iTunes and Spotify so you never miss an episode. Want the full visual experience? You can also watch the video version on our YouTube at AstroTwins-TV. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at AstroTwins and head over to astrostyle.com to read your free daily, weekly, and monthly horoscope that we write for you with love. Until next time, move with intention and let the universe meet you there.